Okay, this is the gearbox motor out of a um, Litter Robot 2 version. Um, I just wanted to, so you can see the cogwheel so that you know that it is the out of the Litter Robot. But basically, I just want to show what I believe to be the failure mechanism on most of these motors for the Litter Robot. This is the second motor that we went through on ours. I just replaced it with a new one that I ordered from the Robot Shop, I believe. Yeah, here's the invoice from the Robot Shop. Let me, yeah, there's the price on it. It was 46 bucks. Yeah, 46 plus $9 shipping, which sucked. But yeah, they're calling it here the Litter Robot 2 motor assembly. So there you go. Anyways, I pulled this motor out. This is obviously the one that was in the robot. Pulled this out and disassembled it. It wasn't too difficult to disassemble, but basically, I've already started cleaning some of this up. But basically, the this stuff is just sticky as all get out. This grease that they used on here. Um, you know, obviously the pee and all the other gunk that gets in there from you know, from the cats doing their business. You can see how this is rusted. You know, the shaft there's your entry point for all your goo that's getting into this gearbox assembly. But if you've got one that you don't want to spend the $50 for a new motor, technically you could pull this motor as long as the motor itself is still working, which the motor is here. You can see the small gear cog coming out there. As long as that motor's still working, you can clean this and re-lubricate it and probably, you know, have it, you know, work just fine for you. So I just wanted to show that for anybody that's having a problem with their Litter Robot. Now the symptoms we had this last time, that this motor, the reason for this motor replacement was it was just making a lot of racket. It was squeaking. It was real loud when it would rotate in the reverse direction. In the forward direction it was fine. Reverse, it would make a lot of noise. The robot we had prior to this one, the symptoms of the motor failure was it would stop during the course of the normal cycle. So it would start rotating, it would get a quarter of the way through the rotation and then just stop. And then it would start back up again and then stop, and then I don't know, eventually I think it would just error out and it wouldn't even try rotating anymore. Um, Now sometimes with that symptoms, that can also be a issue with the sensors. There's two sensors on that robot. You've got the one where the globe sits. There's a metal wire that runs through there that senses when the cat's in the globe. You've also got the foot sensor on the end of the Litter Robot that also senses when they come in and out. The tray that they step on will trigger that sensor. So that can cause the problem with the globe sticking, you know, or stopping halfway through rotation. But typically, what you'll see on that is an LED on the display panel. When that sensor is triggered, that LED will light up red. If this motor gets you know, too much back pressure and it stops, it's not going to light that board up because it didn't trigger any of those two sensors that are in there. It's just, you know, a mechanical issue of binding. And it looks like, from what I can gather with this thing, that's kind of how this gearbox and motor is working. Is if it binds too much, the motor stops. It stops spinning. You know, it shuts it down if it gets too much of a pull on it. Now I'm not 100% certain on that, but from everything I've gathered, that's kind of how this thing is working. Because if you think about it, if there's a cat jammed in there and this thing is rotating, if the cat doesn't trigger the sensors, this thing's just going to keep rotating right over. And well, no, not really. It'll stop if it feels too much resistance, and that's what it was doing. Like I said, the first failure. But anyways, this is the motor pulled apart, and this motor's still good. The motor itself is still working just fine. The gearbox is fine. It's just, you know, gummed up and dirty. So I'm gonna give this thing a quick detail, put it back together, and keep it as a spare, because eventually the motor that I just put in there will fail, and if it fails, maybe I'll have an in-between motor in between buying one, you know, because it takes a couple weeks from the time you buy it to get it shipped. And if you're like us, you rely on that little robot every day, so you need that thing working. You can't have it down for 2 weeks. So anyways, thanks for watching. If there's any questions, let me know. Thanks.